ask Beth if she'd please take the roll call for the meeting.
Yes, trustee Flood,
Here.
trustee Riley,
Here.
trustee McMahon,
Present.
trustee Michaud,
Present.
trustee Eames.
Here.
You're all set.
Thank you very much. Could I have a motion for the Human Resource and Labor Relations Committee of the Board of Trustees to go into executive session under the provisions of 1 MRSA Section 4056A to discuss the evaluation of personnel and the consideration and discussion of appointments, evaluations, employment, and duties, and 1 MRSA Section 4056D to discuss planning for negotiations and communication with AFM, UMSA, AXM, Police, PATFA, and Service and Maintenance Units.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion from trustee Michaud and a second from trustee Eames. And Beth, would you please take the roll call?
Yes, trustee Flood,
Yes?
trustee Riley,
Yes.
trustee McMahon,
Yes.
trustee Michaud,
Yes.
trustee Eames.
Yes.
I'll move you into executive session.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Beth. It looks like we're all back, and I wanted to welcome everyone to the public meeting of the Human Resource and Labor Relations Committee, April 27th meeting. We had three topics. The first topic that we had was a update from myself and from Vice Chancellor Carolyn Dorsey, just on general things. I didn't have that much. I won't speak for Vice Chancellor Dorsey and our resource officer, Amy Parker, but there might be a few updates from us that are short and sweet. But I just wanted to say that this is a time of year that's very busy for all the people on this call. Lots of committees and a lot of administrative workload and way above the normal amount, and with graduations quickly coming and negotiations and things of that nature. So everybody working patiently through all that. It's sometimes very difficult, but I thank everybody who's here with us today. And I don't know about you, but I look forward to a few weekends from now when we're attending graduations. And also I look forward to our next board meeting, which will be in beautiful Fort Kent in the springtime. So that's really all I had for an update. Thanking everyone. Vice Chancellor Dorsey and Chief Human Resource Officer Parker, do you have anything you would like to add?
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
All right, Amy?
I do not.
All right, there. So we have two reports that Amy is going to lead us through. She's our Chief Human Resource Officer. Our first report is the turnover analysis report. We do this regularly. It's part of our standard work plan. And with that, I will turn it over to Chief Human Resource Officer Amy Parker.
Okay. You should be seeing a slideshow. Is that accurate?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so good afternoon. Today I'm going to share two connected reports, the 2025 Workforce Profile, which reflects our employee population from, this is basically a snapshot in time on October 31st of 2025, and the 2024-2025 turnover analysis, which covers the period November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2025. So I would like to note that the turnover report, the source reports were created by two of the HR team members, Susan Spencer, who is our HRIS manager. She develops the turnover report, and Jacob Foster creates the workforce profile report that I will be using as our source materials today. So both of these reports are prepared annually, and they serve as important workforce indicators for the HR team and the university system at large. So I will work through some key indicators and then highlight some items that merit our attention as we move forward. So our workforce snapshot really gives a high-level view of who makes up the university system as of the end of the reporting period. So as of October 31st, 2025, the University of Maine system employed, and I don't think we could do this again, 4,444 regular employees were actively receiving a paycheck as of that date. And in addition, there were 815 part-time faculty members who were teaching during the fall 2025 semester. One thing that is interesting to note is that women make up a slight majority of the workforce at 53.3%, but I think it is good to note that we are, just evenly split on average with our male and females as identified, self-identified in the system. The average years of service system-wide is 10.2 years, and this is a figure that reflects a mix of long tenured employees and then also a meaningful number of newer staff, which you will see. I have indicated per the report the average salaries by employment category, which you can see at the bottom right hand of your screen. And one of the things that I do like to point out is that all of the categories of employees, with the exception of the faculty, so the full-time faculty are typically on an academic year appointment, so 9 months. So that is a salary for a 9-month appointment, as opposed to the other categories, which are typically 12 months. This slide examines the demographic composition of our workforce in more depth, and this is something that we have historically been very attentive to. So on gender, as I mentioned, women make up about 54% of the overall workforce, and faculty are split equally, 50-50. Again, I'm not sure we could do that again. So the numbers are seeming to work out not only evenly, but somewhat magically this year. Among administrators, women account for 53.3%, which is a continuing downward trend from 58.7% in the previous year. Among salaried staff, women represent approximately 57%, down from 59% in 2024. So I will note that these differences are not significant, but we do want to continue to monitor if this is something that will be shifting or trending over time. Regarding race and ethnicity, approximately 9% of our employees system-wide report minority race or ethnicity. And the 3 campuses with the highest reported minority populations are USM at about 10%, UMaine also at approximately 10%, and UMPI at 8.6%. So this year was the first year in some time that USM moved into the top spot. And I do want to note that this reflects self-reported race and ethnicity. And that we do have a number of people who choose not to disclose their race and ethnicity. And I also think it's important to highlight what Maine's general population looks like at this point, the same point in time. So Maine's population over that same time period was approximately 91% white and non-Hispanic. So that provides some helpful context for our workforce profile. In that our population is in general more diverse than the general Maine population. Regarding education, approximately 75% of our faculty hold doctoral degrees. Again, this was consistent with what we would expect for this population. Across all employees, approximately 70% hold a baccalaureate degree or higher. But I will note that 18% of the employees did not report their educational level, which is up slightly from 16% who had not previously reported last year. I'm a little bit puzzled as to why this is a continuing upward trend, but we are monitoring this because this information is helpful for us when we think about not only the federal and other reporting, but also our internal development, learning and development plans. We do ask routinely for this information, but it is purely voluntary, and we are going to continue to ask that employees update their profiles. So I would like to highlight one campus who did spend a significant amount of time on this in the past year, and that's the University of Southern Maine. They really made a concerted effort to update their educational records and encourage employees to do this work. And at a particular point in time, they actually achieved 100% of their employees had reported their educational level, which is outstanding. So I think that's why I was a little bit surprised to see the number go up. But as you'll see, we had a number of new employees, and that information is voluntary. So slide 4 looks at the age and tenure profile of our workforce, which is always important in an aging state. This is important for succession planning and workforce sustainability. So I'll start with the average age. The average age of our administrators is approximately 55 years old. Faculty, it is 51. Salaried staff, 45, and hourly staff averages 49. And I will say that these averages have held relatively steady with little variation over the past several years. A notable statistic in here is that 57% of our administrators are age 55 or older. So this is slightly improved from 61% in 2024, but it is a really meaningful succession plan consideration, and we are actively having conversations with our leaders about, thinking about succession planning, and we've had success with some of the retirements that we've had. So nearly in our senior leaders, if I want to put it very simply, nearly 6 in 10 are at or approaching retirement age. So if we turn to years of service, the average administrators average approximately 13 years of service, faculty average 12 years, hourly staff average 11 years, and salaried staff average 8.7 years. And among the salaried staff, because that is the lowest, the group with the lowest amount of tenure, about 47% have fewer than 5 years of service, and 45% of hourly staff fell into that same category. So that is definitely our lower tenured population. This concentration of newer employees is relevant to our retention conversation that I'll cover in the next few slides. So I do want to highlight 2 campuses. The the University of Maine at Farmington has the highest average years of service across all of their employment categories at 13.5 years. And yes, I have a guest joining me. And the University of Maine at Presque Isle has the lowest at approximately 7 years, which I think reflects its recent growth and hiring activity. So the thing that is important to note of these two statistics is that the data together suggests that we really need to pay attention on an ongoing basis around knowledge transfer, institutional knowledge, and succession readiness, particularly in the administrative and faculty ranks, which I don't think is a surprise to anyone in these groups. So I'm going to turn to the 2024-25 turnover analysis. And again, this report covers the period from November 1st through October 31st, ending in 2025. And the headline figure is that 11.4% of the system-wide system-wide turnover rate. So this is a positive result. This is down from 11.9% the previous year, and it is about 1.25 percentage points below the College and University Professional Association peer institution benchmark, which is currently at 12.63%. So they benchmark against institutions that have student enrollment that is greater than approximately 86 full-time equivalents, 8,600 full-time equivalents, there we go. And in this case, for us, all of our total separations for all of the reasons numbered 506. And this was a decrease of 23 heads from the prior year, or approximately 4.25% reduction. So our system-wide retention rate stands at 88.5%, again, compared with 87.9% last year, which I think is a modest improvement. So if we break down the turnover, voluntary resignations accounted for 6.7% of the average headcount, retirements for 2.3%, and involuntary separations for another 2.3%. So involuntary separations, I just want to define what that is. Those include end of term appointments. So if folks had fixed term appointments, if they were laid off, and then other separations, potentially for misconduct or other reasons. Slide 6 provides more detail on the nature and the timing of separations, which I also think is critical. So if you look at the average years of service at the time of separation, employees who resigned voluntarily had an average of 3.8 years of service, while retirees averaged 25.3 years of service. So obviously the retirement number is expected. I think the average number of 3.8 years for voluntary resignations did surprise me a little bit, although just in general, we're finding that people do not stay in their positions as long as they previously did. Involuntary separations, those individuals averaged approximately 7.25 years of service. But there is one important pattern to highlight, and that is that 32.6% of all separations occurred within the first 2 years of service. So 18% left within their first year and 14% left after 1 year of service, but before 2 years. So we are really starting to focus, or continuing to focus, I should say, on early tenure attrition, because it is expensive to recruit, and we do, invest a lot in a new employee, and so we don't want that investment walking out the door within 1 to 2 years. And finally, on this slide, on diversity of minority hires with less than 1 year of service, 24% separated during that period, compared with 18% for non-minority hires. So that's also important, because that causes us to ask the question, what is different with this population? And what can we do to make this population feel more supported in their first couple of years of employment with us? So we continue to monitor this carefully and may reflect on areas where we could provide targeted support. This slide examines turnover rates across the university's various bargaining units and employment groups compared with the system-wide average of 11.4%. And the first one that is going to be really confusing, I think, for folks is the part-time faculty. So in this slide, it does demonstrate that they have the highest turnover rate, but this is for their regular population at 40%. And there is a very small population of regular part-time employees. It's only about 15. So one person leaves and it really skews the numbers. So I just wanted to point that out because the turnover report is only done on regular employees. And our typical part-time faculty are considered temporary employees by nature of their employment. The law faculty unit had 0 separations during this period, and that while they're not a bargaining unit per se, they are a separate group that we consider because they are non-represented faculty. The police unit had a turnover rate of 30%, 12 separations from an average head count of 41. And I do think this is notable, but not surprising. We are seeing significant transitions in law enforcement staff across the state. And we've consistently heard from both university and external community partners that this is a difficult population to retain at this time. The larger represented units, AFM, the faculty union, had the lowest rate at 6.2%, which is not surprising given the rate of tenure in this population. UMSA, which is our professional staff, were at 11.8%, and they, again, are right at the system average. Our hourly AXM staff are at 15.6%. Our service and maintenance group are approximately 14.5%, and our university supervisors, which are those that are non-represented supervisors or salary, they're not salaried employees, but non-represented supervisors are about 14.5%. One of our larger groups was the non-represented hourly at 18.2%. The non-represented salary is, again, just at about what the average is for the entire population, and the non-represented faculty are at about 10%. So I don't really see any surprises in these statistics. While the police is high, again, it's not unexpected. So slide 8 addresses hiring activity and retention across the system. So during this reporting period, the university made 470 total hires, which was approximately 10.5% of the average head count. Of those, 215 were new appointments. So those were individuals who were new to a role or position, and those represented approximately 4.8% of the average head count. So I feel like we are doing well with our retention compared with the industry average. And of course, there's always more work that can be done. So if we look at the diversity profile of the new hires, we had 63 hires, or 13.5% of our total hires identified as having a minority status. Women made up approximately 40% of hires, and about 29 to 30% of people did not specify their gender. So again, that is a statistic or a demographic point that that is completely voluntary. So I noted on the prior slide some potential areas of focus for minority hires who left within their first year. The separation rate was approximately 24% compared with 18% for non-minority hires. So again, we're monitoring this gap closely. The University of Maine at Presque Isle had the highest hire rate at approximately 22%. Again, not surprising considering their growth. And governance had no external hires during this time period. So in summary, I feel like these two reports present a broadly positive picture with several areas for continued focus that I've noted. Again, the turnover improved. The resignations remain the largest driver of separations. Our workforce is relatively split when it comes to gender. We are ahead of what is sort of a trending Maine population with regards to diversity and minorities. And we will continue to do some work on getting our population to share information about their highest educational level. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the community have. I'm going to stop sharing this.
Thank you. Questions for Amy? Thank you, Amy. Great job with that. I don't see questions. It was very thorough. The documents are very easy to follow. I appreciate that way you've structured them. Amy, you combined both those topics there, did you not? Or
Yes.
do you? Yeah. And Carolyn, did you have any other topics, or Chancellor Malloy, any other things that you wanted to address the committee with today?
No, I just wanted to say thank you. I know Amy and the team that worked on this took the feedback from the trustees from this time last year when she presented these reports, and we were able to kind of develop it and offer it in a better context related to peers and institutions. So appreciate the report and how it was presented.
Yeah, very, very nicely presented. I appreciate that change. Anyone else? Chancellor Malloy? No?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just going to say that Amy's done a great job. The people who work with her, it's a team that really is turned around to a very great degree, and really proud of her work and the team's work in this regard, and just want to say thank you. And we know how to measure ourselves, and that's a good thing.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who participated today. I think I don't see hands raised, so I'm assuming thank you to all the participants, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. We'll call the meeting adjourned. Thanks.